Greetings, my sports to the bone people. Back at it again with another video. Thank you all for tuning in. So, as conversations continue to happen surrounding how things went down in the third test against Australia, legendary batsman Brian Charles Lara has weighed in. Yes, my people. Lara was on a podcast and he was talking about, back in his time, how some of them had to play first class cricket, county cricket to get into the West Indies team. He alluded to the fact that these days, players are mostly using the West Indies team as a mean to secure T20 contracts outside of the West Indies. According to Lara, this is no fault of the players, right? There are a lot of things that need to happen. Now, a former England player also on that podcast indicated that ICC, they need to do better in terms of, evenly spreading out cash so that, lesser teams, if you will, can compete better in terms of providing facilities and paying players. So we're going to go through some of the things that, they said in that podcast. So just give a listening ear until the end and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So I was listening to this podcast, my viewers and subscribers, and I thought, some very interesting things were said. Now, for this video, for the sake of this video, I am taking the written form from the MSN website, right? I listened to the podcast, but for the video, I am going from the MSN website. So this is Brian Lara talking about the whole thing now. And I quote, "We played first class cricket and some of us even played county cricket to try to get into the West Indies team." Right? He went on to say, "We are now using the West Indies team as a stepping stone, as a stage for us to get, contracts around the world. And this is not a fault of the players." Right? End quote. Right? So Lara is reminding us that back in his time, some of the players, they had to play first class cricket, they had to play even county cricket. But what is happening now is there are a whole lot of franchise leagues out there. So players, they don't necessarily need to compete very hard to get into the West Indies team. Guys who are technically gifted, guys who we think would be able to go on and have good test careers, right? They don't need to really put in that type of effort because they can go and play all type of franchise cricket. So the ones that are probably not as gifted in terms of power hitting and being technical, they are able to make the team easier. So what you'll find is that, back in the days when Lara and Viva and all of these guys played, they were able to go and play county cricket. Some of them played different World Series. Some of them play all type of different things. We know about Curry Pack and them thing, right? So you find that even though they played those type of cricket that was away from international cricket, the competition was still stiffer, it was still tougher. When you had Jamaica going up against Barbados, when you have Barbados going up against Guyana, Windward going up against Leeward, when you have Trinidad, when you had all of these guys, it was almost like an international cricket back then, like an international game back then, right? Because even though you would have guys playing county cricket, playing different cricket overseas, we still had enough quality players in the region playing in the primary West Indies tournament. You understand? So it was very competitive. So we had people performing and competition was stiff. So when guys got selected, they were ready. You understand? They were ready. Now, what we find happening is that we have players that after the Lara, the Sawan, the Shandopal, the Samuels, the Gale to a lesser extent, after these guys, we now have a lot of T20 cricket coming around. So the players that were earmarked from the under 15, under 19, as guys who would go on to lead West Indies, we have said the name several times. We're talking about the Purans, we're talking about the the Hetmeyers, we're talking about we see Rutherford and these guys going in the T20 way now. All of these guys who were seen at the under 14, under 15 level, and they were being channeled to go into cricket. These guys, they are blessed with good technique. They got good work done at the youth level. So when they are coming to a stage now where you'd expect them to get into international cricket, you find that most of them, they are branching off to T20 cricket. So the guys who are not as talented as these ones, you find that they are the ones that are now have to, work and work, and they are the ones who will eventually get into the team, because the players who were earmarked from the under 19 level to really come up and take over, they are not really into international cricket like that. So, I understand what Lara is saying, that they had to do a lot in terms of getting their performances up so they can make the team, right? But these days, that's not it. The guys that were earmarked from their 13, 14, 15 to come up into the team, they are not really that doing that. So you find that the ones that are probably not as talented, they are the ones that are really getting the push. You understand? Because they are probably not as gifted to really evolve their game from being, red ball players into T20 players. So they remain as red ball players. So, even though they are not as gifted, they are the ones that we have to work with, right? Now, former England cricketer David Lloyd, who, he was a part of the podcast, or he was on the podcast, was saying that Australia, England, and India, right, they are also, well, not to be blamed, but the fact that, most of the money coming from ICC goes towards them. You understand? It's really tough. So this is him now, and I quote: the big three, they take all the money. England, Australia, and India take off the money, right? They get the big broadcast deals. You have got to have more even distributions to allow West Indies, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and others to compete, right? That is what he's saying. So he said that Cricket West Indies, he said that they really and truly need to find a way to get players up to standard. But these are some of the things that are happening in terms of the money distribution. And I would say cricket is a business. You understand? It's a business. ICC claim that they are in the business of improving the game around the world and all of that. But we know that they are trying to make money, right? They are trying to make money. So teams that are going to be able to pull funds, you understand, broadcast deals will go to teams that, their fans will be watching, so money will be returned. That is what it's a business. I mean, where traditionally speaking, West Indies is a top team. You understand? Traditionally speaking, not no, right? So you would expect them to get some of what's happening in terms of the pie or the cookie, if you will. But these days we cannot attract fans, we cannot attract sponsors. So they see it as investing in something that's not going to return their money. When in truth and in fact, as a primary member of ICC, we should be treated better. But there are a lot of things that needs to happen. First things first, we have to clean up our act. We have to clean up our act in the region in terms of getting selection right. I mean, it's not a lot of games that we have to select players from, probably 7 or so, right? Not a lot of regional championship games. But what we need to do is get the model right. Get the model right. I mean, it's just a few months ago they said they come in with this new model and it's transformative and it's going to get us to the future and all of that. And it produces players being selected who hasn't played test cricket, who hasn't played red ball cricket, and we see what it turned out to. Not saying that if we had selected other guys, because we know the quality of Australia. But I'm just saying, they said they are modeling teams across the world or around the world. They're looking up how teams set up, right? They're looking who they have opening, who they have batting at number at 3, 4, and 5. That is what they said they are looking at. But nowhere around the world you will find top teams going for players who are not taking part in their domestic tournament, right? And put them in test team. It's not happening, right? You might see 1 or 2 players come through and you wonder how they are being all format players or how they are performing in T20 and they just put them in test team. Go and check their first class record. Some of them have 70, 80, 90 first class games. Some of them have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 runs before they can even get a call up to the first team. I mean, it's tougher on our end because some of these guys, they would have to play a lifetime to be able to play that about our first class games, right? If we are going to select people at the age of having played probably 40, 50, 60 regional games, then probably they're going to be in their 30s based on how our things set up, right? So I understand that, but I'm just saying their model is to look at what's happening with successful teams around the world, and what they came up with is selecting people who hasn't played the game, who hasn't played that format, right? And even if they said that when they were playing, they were some of the highest averaging players, you still have to be careful how you do that, but I don't know. We wait to see what's going to come out of this quote-unquote emergency meeting that Sir Viv, Sir Clive Lloyd, and Brian Lara will be a part of. Big up on yourself, my people. Bless.